It's time to games prediction time. Veilguard is gonna suck. Dragon Age Origin is one of the greatest games of all time. It took the already solid foundation of the amazing Neverwinter Nights and broke free from D&D to make Bioware's best unique IP. Though there are arguments for Mass Effect, also a good one. We are introduced in Origins to a bunch of potential wardens who will fight a merciless army of Darkspawn. Sort of like criminals sent to the wall, this is almost like an alternative to execution for many. And we see a failure in the ceremony to create a warrior capable of killing Darkspawn, the person horrifically dying in front of us. We survive, but come across witches, a brutal inquisition. We see Darkspawn that commit acts of kidnapping and assault on female adventurers, that take dwarves and feed them man-flesh and disgusting meals that transform them into huge beasts that exist to spawn more of these monsters. This is dark fantasy. It's very disturbing. It's not politically correct. It triggers the weak, and it is absolutely too dark for a sanitized modern audience that doesn't exist. So Veilguard instead is bright colors, particle effects, flashy combat. We cannot use blood magic because the devs do not want our character to be doing mean things. We will be limited on our evil choices because the devs do not want us making mean choices in this role-playing game. Everyone will be engaged in lots of fetish-driven relationships all the time, apparently even without our consent, because if we do not choose to bang our companions, the devs need us to know that a lot of banging is still happening in the game. The Canary no longer look like massive muscular bullmen with huge horns. They look like big forehead scrawny gilded tieflings. According to journalists, so take this with a grain of salt, you cannot control your companions, but the game will force you to change who is in your party. All we hear about the game is the devs will force you to do this, will not give you the choice to avoid that. The game will limit you for this, for that, here and there. Limits, limits, limits. You can't do the things we have deemed haram, but the thing we devs like, oh boy, are we going to make you do them or ensure you're aware it's going on. The people playing the choices-based RPG here aren't the players, it's the devs. And we can look at and mock the horrible appearances of so many of the characters, how their personalities and dialogues already shown make them seem less like Dark Age fantasy characters and more like California Zoomers, but we all see it. And you can decide if you like that kind of stuff or you hate it. You don't need me telling you. What looks worse to me, though, is this combat instantly reminded me of another game that had a fall from grace. Another game, ironically, with the same original source. Recently, the beloved Dark Alliance pair of games from the PS2 got a reboot, and the new Dark Alliance game starred some pretty well-known characters, even the famous Drizzt Do'Urden. We live in an era where Bioware's Baldur's Gate, one of the most beloved CRPGs of all time, spawned a successful hack and slash called Dark Alliance, which in turn was rebooted now for a very poorly received game. And that game's combat looks just like the Veilguard, a game that comes from another beloved game of Bioware, Dragon Age Origins, which was the next big step from Baldur's Gate. And at the same time, the most traditional game to come from Baldur's Gate, from a completely different studio, we got Baldur's Gate 3, using the old-fashioned, dated, impossible to success style of not appropriate for modern audiences original game, and it becomes one of the biggest games of all time. Dragon Age The Veilguard looks exactly like the type of game a studio which relies on Bioware magic would make. This combines the worst part of modern audience dumbing down of game systems, gross appearances, and limits in choices with the flashy but unenjoyable gameplay of failures like the new Dark Alliance. But hey, the journalists are singing praises of this game, so what do I know? I'm not a professional expert, and I'm not being paid to promote this game for a full month. If you're a bit wary of what they've done to this beloved series, please like and subscribe. If you think Veilguard is going to be a masterpiece, comment below and let me know what I'm wrong about.